Game has started. I will not forget to turn the overlay off this time. Go ahead and introduce our players out of BC.
Alrighty, so in the easternmost pairing of bases here, we have got the Zerg Brofesters LiquidRet spawning in the red, and LiquidSheth spawning in the blue, of course, both of them playing Zerg. And then in the southern pairing of bases, we've got Team Wizards Mr. Terran here spawning in the orange color, and then Team Wizards in the pink as well as the Zerg.
And I want to see which one of these two players decides to take the fast expansion. If I had to guess, I would say Rhett would, because he's more of a macro fiend. Maybe they both will, I don't know, maybe that's a good strategy on this map. They are pretty far away though, it's a long travel distance just to get up that ramp into their base. But of course you have to note, there are destructible rocks here with 2,000 life, and that pesky anti-Zerg 3 armor, damn you.
Yep, 3 armor indeed. I think it would make sense for Rhett as well, just because he's the player more tucked away, so he's a bit safer there. Meanwhile, was this a temple again? Yes, it looks like a temple, as well as that temple with the early gas you mentioned last time, so he's going to have a quick speed to follow this up. And then the Terran player, of course, going for the gas first, so this is that Speedling Hellion, and we'll see.
Same exact strategy. Looks like Sheth is playing it a bit safer this time, and yes, we are seeing Red save up for that 300 gas. 15 hats from him. Sheth with a slightly slower but more economical Speedling build compared to what we saw from Team Wizards. And last game, I mentioned that Team Wizards got his gas really slow. It looks like he did wait a bit longer to get his gas this time, almost too long. His speed isn't even close to being starting, so not quite the same build. But I'm interested to see if he kind of goes the same route, just mass speeding the Speedlings from this.
Yeah, I feel like he's just not going to make another drone. He's just going to keep making Speedlings, and that's kind of going to be what happens. And then, of course, he'll just keep buying time, keep trying to force out more slowlings, while, of course, his opponent starts massing up Hellions here. Now, the thing going for Sheth, though, is he's going to be starting Ling Speed in just a second here, starting that immediately as he gets 100 gas. And you can see in the production tab, very similarly timed. So if he can deal with this early pool, and, of course, he should be able to, they kind of botched it last time, but if you can deal with that, and then Sheth or Rhett can go right up to Roaches, I think that would work quite well. But, of course, Rhett is only just now getting his spawning pool up, so he's going to... It's basically going to be a while before the Team Wizards Terran and Rhett really do anything. Rhett even making a spine here, actually.
Yeah, and the combination of this map being such long distances on the ground, and Sheth kind of doing a counter build to a 10 pool, which is a 14 pool, they're going to be just fine. Sheth actually producing 2 spine crawlers, perhaps playing a bit scared because of last game, and because his opponent, of course, is fast expanding. But I don't think those spines were necessary. Maybe he can move them down here and eventually poke away at these lings, but they need some creep down there first. Gotta get a tumor down there or they're gonna bust down these rocks.
Yeah, and of course it's a little bit tricky too, putting that tumor down, because of course one of your opponents is Zerg. And just the spines in general, I mean, you're trying to deal with very fast units, so the spines, it's hard to cover that much area, really.
Yep, and the rocks still being worked on. Free armor, still going down pretty fast. A lot of surface area for those lings to attack. Is there any speed? Yes, those lings do have speed. Both Zerg players now have the speed. Rhett, however, looks like he's focusing on Roaches. 6 Roaches on the way. If these come out, they're going to start feeling pretty darn safe, especially against these Hellions. And they're just continuing to rally Hellions. The pink Zerg still with 10 Harvesters to Rhett and Sheth's 21 and 16. So if this attack does not work, or at least they don't do a little bit of economic damage, they're going to be in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, Rhett ready to go with his queens here. He doesn't even actually really need to inject too much, of course, because he's just purely going to be making Roaches here. I do like the fact he's got that one creep tumor. It looks like these guys are going to run around. The Ling's actually in a bit of a surround off, but looks like Liquid in a pretty good spot here, you know, really doing a great job. But Rhett moving out with all his Roaches needs to be careful. Looks like they might go for a counterattack, but that would leave their mains very wide open. The Ling's getting off a big surround on the Roaches right here.
Big surround indeed, but these Hellions are just melting the Zerglings. Once again, Sheth focusing only on Zerglings, and they're just getting demolished by these Hellions. And all of a sudden, it's not looking too bad for Team Wizards. If they can somehow get a run by, get past those spines, do something to the economy of these 2 Zerg players, they might be able to come back in this game, economically anyway. Sheth actually taking a hatchery is going to be spotted, and those Lings, looks like he might have more Lings. It's hard to tell, but I imagine the Hellions will come soon and force Sheth to cancel that expansion.
Yeah, some great Overlord positioning here, though, really lets him kind of keep tabs on those Hellions a bit. And, I really like that hatchery, too, because it can actually just buy him some time in terms of it being focused, as opposed to some kind of very potent Hellion run-by, which could just really devastate a mineral line. And, we've actually got a command center coming out here for Team Wizards, so they are not ultra committed to this attack, but once again, their Zerg player sitting at 10 drones right now, and oh man, Sheth boldly moving out with Queen here. That's going to get surrounded, getting taken out. Meanwhile, the Roaches getting some nice pot shots off, but the Marauders also a huge threat here. Concussive Shell is done, so the Roaches have a hard time escaping.
Down goes that hatchery. I'm not sure if that was canceled or not. Sheth being very careful with his links. Actually, he's trying to bust into the Terran base, but no, there is a solid wall set up. He has not seen that command center, as far as I know. No, he has not, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get into the base. These Roaches shooing off these Hellions and Lings. Meanwhile, Sheth is bringing back those Zerglings. He did see the command center, but he's going to let it be for the time being. It completes. Now they have no way of killing that command center. He can always lift it up, so that's always going to be pretty annoying for the Zerg. They're going to have to get some anti-air if they ever want to actually kill the command center.
Yeah, very true. And wow, they actually cleaned up a ton of those Marauders and Hinds, and there might be some very potent counterattack potentially. Of course, these Roaches don't have speed. Rhett is starting his lair, though, and yeah, he will definitely be counterattacking, but there's just so many Hellions that it looks like someone trying to... Rhett just saying, we'll attack move here. LOL.
A lot of Hellions, but that is also a lot of Roaches. You've got to get those Lings in there to soak up that Ling damage, but man, that's so many Hellions, and the clump of the Roaches still makes the Hellions somewhat effective on them, but they're doing a lot of damage. A lot of weak ones in the back, but reinforcing some more. Bunker completely unloaded. These Roaches... Oh, there's a Marauder in the bunker, actually, but the Roaches are going to take it out, and if Rhett and Sheth continue to rally, it looks like they might be able to take this game.
I mean, when you got 10 drones, you can't really help out your teammate much now, can you?
That's very true. 10 drones, with his ally sitting at 3 times as many, and Rhett sitting at almost 3 times as many.
And yeah, SCV's getting picked off left, right, center. You just tons of Roaches here, and this expansion going to have to lift off, and they're going to have to sit back. And I'm really curious, actually, 10 more drones in production for 10 more Lings in production for Team Wizards, and he's not making more, and you just can't keep up. This is a kind of a critical mass here of Roaches. And, of course, the Marauders are good, but 3 Marauders against, 22 Roaches, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, the Team Wizards really relied on that early game strategy of 10 drones and mass Ling. As you get further and further into the game, if you're not doing anything with those Lings, if you're not getting in the mineral lines, you're going to lose, and this is exactly what's happening. It looks like they will actually clean this attack up. Lings absorbing the damage, Marauders dishing it out, but it's not looking good for them. He's still sitting on 10 drones and still making nothing but Zerglings. 10 more on the way.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do as Team Wizards here? I mean, this is kind of one of those positions where it's like, I held off the attack, but I'm just going to say GG because I'm dead. And they kind of are dead. Like, what can you do? You're against 2 Zergs with a vastly superior economy. And actually, we've got a Spire coming out from Sheth here. These guys, they're never in a rush to end the game. You know, these guys are Zerg players, professional. So, as a Zerg player, you never rush to finish the game, and they're really transporting that mindset over to a 2v2. And Red, even with an Overlord right in the center of Team Wizards base, he sees all these barracks going up. He knows exactly what is coming. We have a small Ling counterattack coming across the northern part of the map that will be able to do some damage to, even going into Sheth's main here. He's actually going to spot that Spire and actually going to try and focus that down. That's going to be effective, but once again, it's just kind of falling under the too little, too late category.
Yeah, you're right about that. He does get the Spire down. You want to try to do both. You want to kill the drones and the Spire, but the Spire was a bit too threatening at that point. If you look at the gas saved up from Sheth, he's got 900 gas. That would have been 9 mutas. So a smart move there, taking out the Spire. Is it enough to bring them back into this game? I don't think so. Red's got a lot of Roaches. The Roaches have speed, and there's only 9 Marauders to really deal with those Roaches.
Check this out. In the main of Team Wizards, you've got both the Overlords of Rhett and Sheth just trying to vomit creep, and of course he's only just now started making Marines, so it's going to be a while before this command center can even get the luxury of landing. And the Terran player is actually almost mined out as well. This is just, I mean, he's going to go from being on a 1-base economy to being on a 1-base economy, really.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'm kind of curious as to why he chose to expand somewhere exposed like that. Maybe
I know.
Maybe he thought he could set up